Here we are for another Culture Mavens. I'm here with Rabbi Susan Nanus. I'm Tom Teicholz. And we just had a lovely 4th of July, which was the opportunity to begin our summer pleasure watching and reading. I burned through the last season of Bosch.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's kind of amazing because it's now the 7th season, and Bosch's daughter has blossomed into this beautiful young woman who's going to perhaps become a police detective. And I hear that they are actually making a Bosch spin-off
Of her?
show with him and her and LT.
Yeah, the lieutenant, right.
And I was so wrapped up in Bosch. I was up till 2 a.m. last night reading a recent Michael Connelly, Harry Lincoln Lawyer novel, The Law of Innocence.
I read it.
Was really good, too.
I mean, I've read everything Michael Connelly's written, and I loved watching Bosch. And that's interesting that they're doing a spinoff because also, I'm sure you know this, they're doing a prequel of The Sopranos.
Yes, with James Gandolfini's son, who looks just like him, playing the young Tony Soprano.
Right. So if you're fans of these shows, it's fun to see that they're not ending, but there's more to it. It's like Inspector Morse. I don't know if people know about that, who's so fantastic on PBS. And then they did a whole series called Endeavor about young Morse. And there was a Tennyson about the young, what was the name of the show with
Prime Suspect.
Prime Suspect. So I love those.
Now, I discovered a new comedy. It's on Hulu. It's called Letterkenny. And Letterkenny is a small town in the Canadian vastness that has only 5,000 citizens. And there are only 3 types of people: hicks, who are farmers, hockey players, or punk meth heads.
Oh, my God.
The leads of the show run a roadside vegetable stand, and most of the show is them sitting there insulting each other with one-liners, each one more inventive than the next. And it's the most bizarre but most brilliant show. It's been running in Canada for almost a decade. It's really good, really funny.
Well, I found a comedy. So I'm taking a break besides Bosch from all the dark detective and murder stories and shows. And I want to do something light. It's summer and I need to be lightened. I found this wonderful, hilarious series called Starstruck on HBO Max, written and performed by a New Zealand stand-up comedian named Rose, I think it's Mafateo, who I never heard of, but it's hilarious. And it takes place in London, so you know it's going to be good because anything English is superior. And it's about a girl who's like, you know, a real sort of millennial. Has a million like part-time jobs. She's not going anywhere. She's really, really funny. She on New Year's Eve, she goes to a bar against her will, and this is like the premise of the whole show, meets a guy in the bathroom because she went into the men's room because she didn't want to wait in the women's line, which I know I've done many times, and meets this guy. Then she meets him at the bar, and it's midnight, and she says, well, you don't have to kiss me or anything. And they end up going home together and having sex. And then she's like very casual, like, goodbye, I'll never see you again. She goes to the kitchen to get water. She sees a poster of him. He's a huge movie star, and he's Indian, really handsome. And it's a hilarious series. Every episode is just 22 minutes about their relationship. And it's called
It's kind of like Notting Hill in a way.
Yeah, but so much funnier, so much crazier. And millennials, or whatever they're called in their 20s, are completely different in their attitudes towards relationship. Like, she's sleeping with some guy for a while and he tells her he's in a relationship, and her reaction is, well, that's rude to be in a relationship. I mean, it's really, really charming and funny, and I recommend it. And then I saw another really charming movie on Amazon Prime called Burn All Your Maps. It's you know, on Amazon they have this section called Hidden Gems, where these films that are like really good that no one's ever heard of. This was a 2019 film about a family that's a husband and wife, a family that's having a lot of problems because their baby daughter died. That's like before the story. And they have another daughter, a teen daughter, who's coping, but their 8-year-old son has decided, he's convinced that he's a goat herder from Mongolia. He makes little goats. He dresses like a Mongolian. And it's the story of they end up going to Mongolia. And it's wonderful and whimsical, and, you know, and has some depth to it. And it just took me away, and I recommend it if you just want to skate for an hour and a half. It's not too long. It's beautiful. Meaning follow your dreams. Burn them out. Go ahead.
No, that sounds good. That sounds charming. Now, also, if you want a great escape and entertainment, there is a documentary on Hulu called Summer of Soul. Questlove, who is the leader of the band The Roots, that is Jimmy Fallon's house band, discovered that in the summer of 1969 in New York City, throughout the course of the summer, there was this music festival of Black artists, and they had created this festival in order so that there, wouldn't be riots in the city, because it was only coming a year after Martin Luther King, and they didn't want to have the summer of riots. Now, this is the same summer that Woodstock took place.
Wow.
And of course, Woodstock got all the press and publicity. Questlove discovered that this festival actually was filmed, but the film has sat in canisters for 50 years. And it has amazing performances. It opens with a performance by Stevie Wonder where he's playing the drums. And you don't really ever see Stevie Wonder playing the drums in concert.
How old is he in that film?
He's probably around 14, 15, 16.
Yeah. Wow.
And then there are incredible performances by Sly and the Family Stone. And the film closes with an amazing performance by Nina Simone, who's an amazing performer. And, the music is fantastic. Just seeing the way people are dressed and all the and it's very well edited and very well put together. And I recommend it highly.
Just such a commentary on our society, how that concert was completely ignored. Even though those were amazingly talented people even back then. And all the focus went on the white performers basically at Woodstock.
Right.
So I'm so glad I'm going to watch that. Another wonderful feel-good series that I found is on PBS or Masterpiece. I happen to have a subscription to Masterpiece because I love anything, from the BBC, called Us. And it stars Tom Hollander, who is a wonderful British actor, and Saskia Reeves. They're husband and wife, and it just opens with them in bed one morning, and the wife, she turns to him and she says, I think we're done. I think the marriage has gone as far as it can go, and I think we're done. And it's like, what? And so she's basically saying, I want to do something else, and he's flipping out. It's like 6, episodes of will they stay together or not. They decide to have one last family vacation, which turns into a disaster. You see how different they are in every way temperamentally. You also do flashbacks of how they met and what they were like when they were young and their history. And it's just, again, a wonderful, non-dark, but beautifully dramatic with a lot of light touches series on PBS with that excellence that we know we're going to get from the BBC. It's called Us. So that's another one I watched.
Now, in summer entertainment, I always like a good action movie. Sometimes, search out a great Asian martial arts film. On Netflix, they have this movie by the oldest living action star, still making people, scared, Liam Neeson. And it's called The Ice Road.
The oldest living action star.
Well, I mean, this whole third act of his career, where he's still a menacing action star,
right?
Which is kind of funny. Anyhow, in this one, it's basically a ripoff would be the wrong word, but let's call it an homage to the famous French film, The Wages of Fear. In that film, they had to drive a truck filled with explosives to a certain destination. Here, they've got to drive certain things across the frozen lakes of Manitoba, and there are people wanting to stop them from getting there. And so there's a lot of action, crazy driving scenes, fights in the cabs of trucks. And it's not by any measure great, but it certainly is good enough for a summer's night.
Well, if I want my action, I go to Daniel Silva, my favorite, thriller novelist who writes the Gabriel Allon series about the Israeli Mossad spy. At this point, he's the head of the Mossad, but he still never stays in his office in Jerusalem, but gets involved. And it's his 21st Gabriel Allon book coming out July 13th. I have pre-ordered it already. And it's the only two hardcovers that I can't wait. I have to buy them immediately are Daniel Silva and Michael Connolly. I have to read them immediately. So if you're a Daniel Silva fan, and if you're not, you're so lucky because there are 21 books you can read of his. I guess he writes one a year. So he's been writing for 21 years and still going strong. And I'm excited. I hope that Connolly, won't stop writing about Harry Bosch.
Well, Connolly now has several characters.
Yeah, Mickey Haller.
Mickey Haller, the lawyer, Renee Ballard,
right,
the cop, and then there's the journalist who was in The Poet.
I don't love him. That's my least favorite series. But
again, that gives him a bunch of different ones to play with.
That's right. So, we're, enjoy reading, enjoy watching, enjoy going out and eating, in restaurants. And I haven't even been to the beach.
Enjoy summer.
Enjoy summer, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.